close to God, like I said, but I've always wanted to make sure that I don't just come to Him when I need Him. You know how they say praise Him in the sun and praise Him in the storm too. That was me. I always try to make sure that I do that. However, I was in my blame God phase of my life at that point. Like when your 6-year-old son is in the children's hospital close to death, and you're just looking around and saying, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking care of business. I'm taking care of my family. I don't cheat on my wife. I'm doing things supposed to do. And my son is in the hospital about to die. I'm out.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to our platform. I'm your boy Drew. We are Option for a Podcast. I'm always joined by the second half of the show. GQ Nesto, how you doing today?
What it do? What it do?
How you feeling?
Good.
Shit's cool. Good to see me.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a very, very special treat. I would say we have radio royalty in the building. All right, let me run down this list real quick. All right, so we have the former host of Live from Room 82, right? Forge 103.9 in Bakersfield, Forge 95.3 in Fresno, and the former host of the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA 1580 right here in Los Angeles, California. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mr. Danny Morrison. How are you doing today?
It is an honor and a privilege to be in you guys' space here. And let me just start out by saying that I see y'all. I did some research on y'all. And I love what you guys are doing with your platform to inspire some people out there, because there's so much negative. And so when I did some research on you guys, I said, here's two cats that get it. They understand that they want to use their media to help and change in the world. So I'm honored to be in your presence, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate that too, man. That's
That's the first call.
Yeah,
They don't get no love like this.
No, they come to us.
Legendary.
They want their mixtape right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we the producers. We gonna get you right. You know what I'm saying? But like, no, I appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
It's all good. It's all real.
All right, so how are you feeling today?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. You got a morning routine?
Of course, I gotta hit that gym, take care of myself. You know, I'm a lifetime non-drinker, non-smoker, non-drugs of any sort.
Really?
And that's what's kept me young, I like to think, and also my faith in God has done the rest. So
Okay.
I wake up, I hit the gym usually, try to eat right, try to keep my kids straight. You know, beautiful lady, doing all right for myself.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, did you run into traffic on the way here?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. The GPS said 25 minutes and it was like 45, 50. I'm like, wait a minute, the GPS is lying. Boy. They need some drug testing over at Siri. Something's up.
All right. For all our listeners and the viewers out there, I know I ran down a list of what you've done professionally, but like, who is Danny Morrison? Share with us.
Whew. That's crazy. I've never been asked that question.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Bakersfield, born and raised in Bakersfield, and I grew up in a single parent home. My mom, Wilma Morrison, probably one of the strongest people I've ever known, and she just happens to be my mama. But growing up, I grew up without a father. I had a father that just didn't want nothing to do with his kids. So my mother, on her own, had to raise 6 children in what was then the roughest neighborhood, probably in Central Cali when I was coming up. It was in the middle of the crack era. So my mother was struggling. You got gangs here, you got drugs here. My mother kept her faith in God, kept us in church, and made me the man I am today. So I knew when I got to a certain age so I could impact people with my own time and my own dime. I'm gonna put out some content that's gonna inspire the same way you guys are. Everything that I do, I'm gonna use it to inspire those same young kids that were in my neighborhood that had nowhere to turn and nowhere to go. So I am somebody that keeps God in my space, tries to inspire as many people as possible, and tries to use the platforms that I'm gifted to try to move people to the next level. That's how I do.
That's what's up. So I'm gonna take it that Tuesdays was Bible study. Thursdays was choir rehearsal.
I'm here in LA now. I haven't even found a church here in LA.
What's up with that?
I just haven't. I'm probably will. But you don't have to go to church to be close to the man upstairs. You know?
I amen to that.
don't have to.
Amen to that.
Well, no, because it'll be times where I have a little dry run,
Dry run.
You know what I'm saying?
That will be driving sometimes.
And then, but he'll get on me because he's like faithful with it. He ain't missing a beat. You know what I'm saying? Until now, recently. But and normally it's him who be on me like, hey, you go to the Lord's house today, and I was like, nah, man.
I look at it as, for all the times that you're gonna be in hardship is the times that the Lord's gonna visit you, right? So you gotta, like, if you show up to the dude's house, you know what I mean? He's gonna come through for you when you need him. You know what I mean? In a sense, let's simplify it, bro. Like, we don't have to put anything in a box. You know what I mean? But that's my, that's my concept in my head, the way I process it. So that's why I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be as disciplined as I could to show up at least one day out of the week for the Lord, and just surrender, and then just be like, all right, like I trust in you, and then call it a day. I don't even wait for the gospel no more. I just all right, I came through, and I think that counts, right? We'll see when we get to the gates, you know what I mean? And I'm over here turning up, and everybody's like, how did he make it? Well, there you go.
He's a C student.
But it's still
passing. He still walks across the stage. You walk out before the sermon?
That's what, yeah. I don't even try.
So you don't go to church at all?
No, I do. Oh no, I go.
You do the virtual stuff though.
No,
that's still church.
Oh, you put me out there like
that's
that?
Still church stuff.
No. Okay, so this is what I try to do. So I try to go at least like twice a month physically. All right, but the times where I can, maybe we got some like plans or something with the family. All right, so this ain't even about me, are you? But no, like
it's part of the conversation.
All right, but no. So
we'll
growing up, like there was a lot of things that I didn't experience because of church. You know what I'm saying? It was like nothing was interfering. Like church wasn't just Sundays. Church was Monday through Sunday. Sunday to Sunday. It was always something to do. So while everybody else was out like riding bikes and having fun in the neighborhoods, that just and not only that, but I didn't come from like the greatest neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in South Central like so many others, right? So my parents, like they were like, all right, well, and then my parents were raised in the church themselves, so it was like a way of life. You know what I'm saying? So now that I have my own children, not that I teach them, I read with them, they're all baptized, but I don't want to force it upon them, because I think forcing something, you're just checking the block. You know what I'm saying? I want them to feel it, like on their own. I want them to desire to have that relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? And not because, dad made me. Because how many times you have to go, I went to church and my parents made me to go. Nah, I want you to be there because you want to be there and because you understand. So I try to feed them, but I don't want to feed them too much. But what they say, train up a child. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in that. I'm a strong believer in that. So I plant the seed. I know I planted the seed in my children. And, I just hope that they maintain that better. I want them to have a better relationship with a higher power than I do. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think that comes with me forcing it. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. And here's the segue I was talking about. Part of the reason that I've kept God close to me my entire life is because my mom forced us into church. We were one of those families that went to church 5 days a week, man. It was crazy, right? So back in early 80s or so, my mother was always volunteering at the church. She was your usher, she was handing out offering, all that stuff. My mother was one of those women, without being, the matriarch of the church, she was still very much involved in the church. So they started to build a new church next to our old church. It was a small holiness church, probably 40 people in that thing that we grew up in. But they wanted to build another one and expand. So my mother was there every weekend, sweeping, moving lumber out the way, helping out the congregation and the pastor get this church built so we could finally have a good sized church. Right. Mother, one day, my little brother, I think he was 6 at that time, took my little brother with her and said, I don't have a babysitter, so I need you to come with me. It's gonna be boring, but you gotta come hang out at the church. Took my little brother out there. They're gone all day. And we're like, why is she spending her time helping them build this church when she got kids at home? There were 6 of us. But she took my little brother with her. They didn't come home that night. They were freaking out. Like, where's mom? Who's there every day? My mother didn't have a job at that time because she had 6 kids, like I said. So we were on welfare, food stamps, WIC, collected pop bottles, aluminum cans. I kid you not. Everything that we had to do to keep the lights on, we did. So for her not to be home kind of freaked us out. So we all go to sleep, my 4 siblings. And I get awakened at 2 o'clock in the morning by my older sister, Sonia. Danny, wake up! Danny, wake up! She's just falling. Danny, wake up, wake up! Mark is in the hospital, my little brother. And I was like, what? So we all freaking out. We knew something was up because there was ambulances rolling down Cottonwood Road, which is kind of the main thoroughfare in that neighborhood. And come to find out, here's what happened. My brother's outside playing. Other parishioners brought their children that day. So they had an area of the dirt parking lot. They were just out there, playing, throwing rocks and stuff. So one of the parishioners at the church lived right next door, literally right next door to the church. She had to go next door and pick up something, I don't know what it was. And she was like, I gotta go home, I'll be right back. Her son, 13 years old, said, Mom, can I go with you? She was like, no, stay here. He's like, well, tell me what you need from the house, I'll go get it. Can I drive? And she was like, he was just learning to drive. Can I drive? Yeah, tosses him the keys. He runs out, it's a big old truck too, like a big old GMC truck. Gets in the truck, boom, lights it up. What y'all doing? Tells my brother and tell his other male friend, jump in the back of the truck, I'm just going next door, I'll come right back. They, oh, let's go. Boom, they jump in the back of the truck, they go next door. They're sitting not in the bed of the truck, they're sitting on, how the top of the bed, on the back of the truck. My brother falls over when he starts backing, and that truck ran over the head of my brother. And my brother lives today, 6 years old. Because my mother put all kinds of faith in us. I'll give you another quick story. This happened in, I'm trying to think what year it was. But 2012. I'm out with my now ex. And we're at an event in downtown Bakersfield. Big gala, We're all dressed to the nines and everything. I get a phone call from the mother of my son and said, Danny, Christian is urinating blood right now. And I'm like, what? You ever hear something and you got to double back and go, did I just hear what I thought I just heard? You kind of thinking and talking in slow motion. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, we're speeding to Memorial Hospital right now. I'm like, I'm on my way. It just happened to be 4 or 5 blocks from where we were in downtown. We get there, there's a madhouse in there. Things are going crazy, And I'm wondering where my son is. Nobody's talking to me. I'm in freak out mode. Nobody's talking to me. Finally, the doctor comes out and says, Mr. Morrison, your son is not here. Calm down, your son is not here. They're transporting him down to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles as we speak. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, let's go. And my ex, in her defense, and we don't always see eye to eye.
Let's put that out there.
She said, you go home. Because I was frantic, as you might imagine. I'm going to follow the ambulance. I'm going to update you. Then you come down when you're ready. I was like, okay. So all night I'm pacing, back and forth, pacing. Just like, and you had that talk with yourself, like, I could have done better. And this and that, you're just going crazy, blaming yourself, start blaming other people. I get that phone call, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Hello? Danny, what? Christian has stage 4 cancer in his stomach and in his lungs.
How old is he?
Stage 4, 6 years old. So,
That's crazy.
we're a mess. We're just a mess, right? So, you go down. You guys ever been to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles?
I've had a couple of stays there.
It's you stays.
Yeah.
I gotta hear a little something about that.
Yeah.
Not only is it the most tragic place you'll ever walk into, the most depressing place you'll ever walk into, it's also the most beautiful facility you'll walk into. And I don't mean as far as aesthetics, I'm just talking about the people that work there. You can't believe that they
It's
work
the
there.
hood, but it's nice.
No, it's in downtown LA, but you will not believe the miracles that you see in that place from those beautiful people that work there. I even asked a nurse one time, I'll get back to the story. I was like, how do you work here? She said, I was born to work here. And I go, but you see children die every day. She says, oh, I cry a lot in bed every night. I cry a lot, but I don't see me doing anything else. So I get down to Children's Hospital, and my son, they had to install a port in his shoulder blade, so they could inject all the chemo, and he had to go through radiation treatments as well. So my son's like losing his hair. We're in that thing for months. You know, we're going back and forth from Bakersfield to LA, back and forth, back and forth. Me and my ex are alternating time. This is your days, my days, da 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 da. Then, like I've been so mad at like the medical community and the way we take care of healthcare in this country, because I had stellar healthcare, right? But you can't miss no work days to keep that healthcare going. So I had to leave my son and go to work enough hours to make sure that the healthcare is intact. That's what's wrong with this country, you know what I'm saying? I can't stay there with my son who could die. I gotta go back to work and try to have some semblance of normalcy in my head as I'm trying to work. So time goes by, and my son needed surgery. What had happened, he had a ruptured kidney infected with cancer, and one of them had ruptured. Boom. So they had to go in and take that out, which is why he was urinating blood. So it's now surgery day. It was like a few weeks after. And before surgery day, it was like a week prior, I had to go back to Bakersfield to work. I want to skip this part of the story. And I've always been close to God, like I said, but I've always wanted to make sure that I don't just come to him when I need him. You know how they say praise him in the sun and praise him in the storm too? That was me. I was trying to make sure that I do that. However, I was in my blame God phase in my life at that point. Like when your 6-year-old son is in the children's hospital close to death, and you're just looking around and saying, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking care of business. I'm taking care of my family. I don't cheat on my wife. I'm doing things supposed to do. And my son is in the hospital about to die. I'm out here trying to bring as many people as possible to your throne, and you gonna take my son?
I feel it.
You know, so I'm driving home one day and it's raining and stuff, and he just started having that talk out loud. I talk to God like he's in the room because he is, you know what I'm saying? So I'm driving down the Grapevine. Y'all know about the Grapevine, right?
Yeah.
And there's a Fraser Park area, so I pull up in there, and I was like, I just need to sit somewhere. There's a clearing. If you go up Fraser Park and you go up about 3-4 exits, there's a clearing up there, half grass, half dirt. And I just get out, and you should like it was a movie. I'm just walking around in the mud, and I'm talking to God. I go, if my son dies, I'm done with you. I will hang up my faith, my Christianity, my relationship, and I will no longer talk about you. If you take my son, I'm done. Because why would I do that? Why would I continue to push you when you can't take care of what's around me? So I get in the car and you ever beat the steering wheel when you're in the car, you mad about something? Just beating the steering wheel, you know? I get to the house, go to sleep. That's God is my witness. It's a true story. I've told this story in front of congregations, schools, and the whole nine. I had a dream that night. And I'm dangling off this cliff, right? Like a fish on a hook dangling off a cliff. And the water is pelting my face. It's raining, it's stormy, thunder, lightning, all this water. And somebody's holding my hand. And I look up. And Jesus is holding my hand.
You saw Jesus.
And he said, oh, you doubt me? You doubt me. All them times you've been through all you've been through. Your brother being in the hospital, all that stuff y'all prayed for. Your mother being a single parent of 6 kids. Always been there the whole time. I've never left you one time. And now you say you're gonna abandon me in your toughest crisis. Get up. So I get up. I go down to the hospital. Now it's time for my son's surgery. Everybody's looking at me like, you in a better mood. I go, just feel better. So, you know, I did talk to the man, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I got first-hand account, I'm just saying.
Right.
So my
We
son
had a
goes,
heart-to-heart.
you know what I'm saying? You know, maybe make a house call him aboard.
You did call him out, though.
You know,
That was pretty bold.
Hey, when you call up to man, okay, I'm gonna have to go see him. You know, put it on the schedule.
I was like, you made it? You
Yeah.
talked to
Yeah,
him like
little
that?
tease meeting.
Yeah, you
You know what I'm
made it.
saying? So, my son goes through surgery. It's like a 5-hour surgery too. It's nothing simple. And the doctor comes out after the surgery, and me and my ex are standing next to each other, like kids just waiting for Santa Claus to say something. So we just waiting. And we go, well, what's the deal? And he goes, we think we're good. We think we got it. We think we're good. My son just turned 18 years old and graduated from high school last week, 2 weeks ago. They can't find cancer in his body. Stage 4, stomach and lungs. My son had a less than likely chance of making it. So I got more stories like that too. So I can sit are you sure I did? So I can sit here and tell you. So when people ask me about my faith, I go, you don't have to be in church every Sunday. You don't stick around for a sermon either. But
we heard it first here.
I'm just not. I'm not no ordained. Well, I am an ordained minister. I ain't. We can't just marry friends of mine last year. Keep God close.
Yeah.
Just keep it close. You ain't got to sit and read the Bible all day. Nobody had us read a chapter every night and stuff. It's not that serious. I don't think God is that serious on you wanting you to have a relationship with him. He does want you to always make sure you keep in contact with him, and he wants you to spread the word on what he can do for whomever you are communicating with.
I had an epiphany, literally, I want to say less than 48 hours ago, where I was just, I was not necessarily talking to God, but I was just listening to, I'm a big fan of Joel Osteen, right? He's very convincing, So I had a little Joel Osteen moment, and I'm thinking, right, my mind is kind of already fuck, I already give up, this is a wrap, and then something, I don't know, something that he was saying that just clicked, right, had nothing to do with what I was feeling, right, but I realized that the moment that whenever you feel something that is not working out, and instead of worrying about not working out, you already start thinking about what you're gonna do next. Is right. Is basically you're setting you're automatically thinking you're putting your head into your mind into motion to be ready to just continue and just keep it trucking. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing we have is God. Right? And you need to have some sort of faith to be able to redirect your thoughts, especially when they're negative. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot easier to just pout about something versus just deciding to just say, you know what, okay, take it a day at a time. You know what I mean? Take it a day at a time. Keep moving. And even if it doesn't work, anticipate the worst, but at the same time with courage to move forward despite that, So that was kind of a cool little epiphany that I had. I was like, you know what? All right, bet. let me just keep going, And it's crazy because it doesn't happen like that every day. Nope. You know what I mean? And you just have to just cherish that one day that you did have that feeling that you know what? Shit's about to crack.
That's powerful.
I think the biggest thing that people struggle with religion, because it's not about religion. I think it's about relationship, but it's the suffering Jesus mentality or the suffering Christian mentality. And what I mean by that is, all throughout the Bible or all throughout the scripture, you'll see, we're going to have trials and tribulations. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, during those trials and tribulations, just remember that I am there with you, right? Because it'll say you're not, this is not our home. Eternity is our home.
That's right.
But so what we struggle with is yo, bro, like you said, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I don't want to struggle here, and I definitely want to turn up when I get there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So just because it's almost I've had those same conversations, dude, don't you hear me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Dude, and then sometimes, you don't want to be selfish in your prayers, but I want, acknowledge exactly, be specific in your prayers. You know what I'm saying? Say exactly what you want and what you mean. But most of my prayers are, he gets upset with me, but I want to flourish so I can help others. You know what I'm saying? And it's just bro, I'm not even up here asking for myself. I'm asking, so I think, but if you having that conversation with, I ain't never heard nobody. But recently, my son just lost his best friend, and he had questions, and I was just yo, bro, and he was upset. He was upset with God. My son began. Yeah, he felt his friend had stage 4 cancer, right? How are you 20 years old, 21 years old, stage 4 gone, right? So he, my son, like my oldest, like I was always trying to like reel him back in, but it took that. He started reading and scripture and fasting and praying and doing all these things. So it's like, what happens when those prayers aren't answered? And that was the question, like and I'm just like, the generic answer, I mean, it's not generic, but it's true. But it's like, man, it just wasn't in God's will. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the reality of it is it still hurts. You know what I'm saying? I still don't understand. Like, I know you controlling all this. You know what I'm saying? I know you controlling all this, but that still hurt. So I think it takes a real strong person, not just in religion, but just mentally, with understanding that there are just some things that are just out of your control. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it but to develop an understanding, allow that moment of hurt and pain to project some positivity somewhere else. So it's going to take that for you to influence or redirect that anger or that energy into something beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was telling them to do. Like, I honest, because not only he experienced death, I experienced death recently with my cousin. And it just made me question everything. Like, really, like, so what really happens? You know what I'm saying, when we're gone? Like, where is he? You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of conversations did he have? You know what I'm saying? And because my uncle is a pastor of a church. You know what I'm saying? And when, you lose a family member who doesn't necessarily believe in what you believe, you know what I'm saying? So what happened? You know what the scriptures say. You ain't with God. You know what I'm saying? You will say. Ain't no ands, ifs, or buts are in between. You know what I'm saying? If you don't believe, I mean, this ain't even about religion, but if you think about it, that the only way to God is to Jesus. Jesus is the intermediary. He speaks on our behalf. Believing that He came and He died for our sins on the cross, so that we have a right to eternal life. Like, I mean, like, dude,
I wouldn't put it all in that box,
but that's what Christianity is. That's what it teaches.
I think the mistake that we make, and it sounds like you make the same one I do, just because we are strong in the faith and just because we get on our knees every night and pray for that friend who has stage 4 cancer or what have you, you don't know if that friend is strong in the faith though. What if they don't believe at all?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that would have healed him instantly, but there's scientific proof that prayer works. So I just believe that if you're positive, you keep God straight in your life and in your heart and in your family's lives, things will work out far better more often than not if you do that. I'm not saying it's a perfect situation. Christians die every day. God-fearing people die every day. I just honestly believe, and I got proof because I'm living proof, the closer you are with God, the more you try to stay on the right tracks and live by His word and His commandments, your life will be better for it. That's just what I believe, and it's worked.
It's funny how we have these episodes, like our previous guests kind of relate to. So
I know.
You already know what I'm saying, right? So we were just talking about like living free, right? Like no boundaries. Just you only got one life to live. Let's just stop overthinking. Let's just. But then that's his mentality. My mentality is, like everything has a time and a place, and there is some form of discipline, right? And I think religion can be that discipline for some people. You know what I'm saying? You may not be in church every Sunday. You may not be opening up your scripture every day of the week, but there's that acknowledgement that He exists. You know what I'm saying? And I think a man without fear of God is reckless and dangerous.
That's a word right there.
But
it's just creating order, really. I mean, I don't really think it's, and that's the crazy part that we won't know till we know, and then we're still not gonna be able to tell anybody. You know what I mean? So it's just having that benefit of the doubt. But if you don't have God, I just think that what do you have left? Just your thoughts, just your stupid things that are not even the actual reality. It's a simulation of what you're making it in your head. Like, we can all see something right there, and you can have your perception, I have my perception, and you know what I mean? Like, how can we rely like living based off of our mind? You know what I mean? So we need something bigger than us, and that's why I would say just a higher being. I mean, I'm Catholic, but at the same time, I don't doubt that there's a lot of discrepancies. You know what I mean? So I prepare for it could be a different situation. You know what I mean? Be humble enough to acknowledge that, because a lot of people are like, no, this is who I am. I'm like, oh well, what if the Jehovah's were right? You know what I mean? What are we gonna think? We think it's stupid. So I just think we just have to be humble enough of just the higher being, and I think that it's crazy how, like, and I think that's the part where, like, when you were telling him, like, I'm done with you, do you think he actually cared? If he was just probably like, bruh, relax. You know what I mean? Because essentially, like, God is love, period. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. He doesn't have emotions. He doesn't get mad. He's just like, okay, son, I love you. And then you're over here like, So think about how just in general, a specific practice triggers a minds of a man to lose it. How often like do we have that privilege? We don't have that privilege, because if we do that, we're probably going to go to jail, or we're going to be horrible men. You know what I mean? So our job is to stay composed. So when you're dealing with things like that, everybody's like, like thinking like, don't lose it. Like, no, you know what I mean? You have that right. You know what I mean? You work every day to provide. Like, let me feel how I feel, especially knowing that you're taking everything for the family. You know what I mean? So
I receive all that. I know you want to move on to the next topic. I'll keep it short.
No, I'm good.
I believe all that. I receive all that, but I'll piggyback on that as well. The older I've gotten, the more that I've started to become more accepting of other religions because of what you just said. My mother believes hardcore Christianity, period. Like, if you don't believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross and he's the Son of God and rose on the third day, you go into hell. There is no in between. The older I've gotten, I don't think your faith matters. I honestly think that we're all serving the same God. Real talk. In some way, shape, or form. So I respect anybody that just has a faith of some sort. But I don't rock with people that have none. That's when you're in trouble. If you have no faith, that's a problem in itself, because those people just throw caution to the wind all the time.
No, I dig it. Well, I can even go to the not even just something else to think about on that. Thinking about when God selected the children of Israel to be his chosen people. If you read in certain like African, like going back to like the whole Kyrie thing, right? Think about that, right? And if you don't know, just do some research. All right. But there's multiple gods, but there's only one God Almighty. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about all these other faiths, and whether it's Sikhs or whether it's Islam or whatever it is, those can be those others that existed and still exist to this time. There's only one Almighty. You know what I'm saying? But that's just something y'all can go down the rabbit hole and do your own research about. You know what I'm saying? But like my mom is the exact same way.
Old school Christian, man.
Black and white.
Yeah.
Black and white, and I'll be like that with him sometimes, and he'd be like, no,
Why didn't you put that in? Why didn't you add that in?
No, because he knows.
I mean, I will lie. Sometimes I take a hit before I take a couple shots before when I visit the Lord.
He was like, I'm a little deep with it right now.
You know what I mean?
Just listen to me speak.
You listen more.
Like,
You're making sense.
You listen more. Like,
smoke some more, because you're making some sense, man.
You know what I mean? Like.
No, but Danny, how did you get involved in radio? How did it all come about?
I was born with the voice for radio. I can't even.
Really do.
I appreciate that.
You really do.
I can't take credit for it. The whole time I was growing up, they were like, "Man, you need to get in radio. What you waiting for? You need to get in radio." So I used to do hip hop. I used to be an MC way back in the day before.
Bars. Let's hear it. Go.
No, I don't remember.
DJ, drop the beat.
I don't remember. Trust me. But I was nice. But as I went on and I had a hip hop career, I was in spoken word for a while. And a new radio station came into town. I had already gone to school for communications and radio, but a new radio station came into town. Bakersfield wasn't playing no hip hop in that city when I was coming up. Like, it was just blasphemous. They'll throw in like an MC Hammer on top radio or something, but they're not playing hip hop. So this new radio station called Hot 94.1 came into town, and I was like, I think I'll apply. I think I want to work there. And they hired me. And I did a show called Between the Sheets. So y'all remember the Slow Jam shows?
Yeah.
The Live Storm?
Yeah.
I did that for a bunch of years, and I was there for 13 years, not doing slow jams. I was doing weekends and days and stuff. And then I left that station, that's that Forge 103.9 that you see on there. They hired me because they said, we're starting a radio station. You that dude, man, we need you to come down and be the anchor. Did that. Then they start simulcasting my show from Bakersfield and Fresno. And that's that 95.3 you were talking about. And then about 3 years ago, Tavis Smiley called me. Yeah, Tavis called me. He was like, get your butt down here to Bakersfield. I said, LA, you shouldn't be in Bakersfield. You're too big for Bakersfield. Come do what you do in Los Angeles. So I was there for 2 years, had a great time, amazing time. But the entire time I was there, I was getting phone calls from people, text messages from people. You need to do your own thing. Like, KBLA is great, but don't you want to do your own thing? And I know, like you two, you guys had a dream to set out and create your own content, take ownership of your own content, and not have any parameters or barriers stopping you from going where you want to go and saying what you want to say and what you want to do. And I also want to inspire so many of these young people out here, because it's 90% negative right now. How often do you see a positive podcast other than this one? Or hear positive music? Or see a positive TV show? Or see a positive movie? How often do you encounter any of that? Social media has drowned out the positive messaging. I said, what if I built some product, content, and I pushed back against the narrative that these kids are doomed? Because that's all you hear from older people, especially older Black people, that we're doomed. I rebuke those remarks. So I'm always going to put out content that is Christ conscious, socially conscious, and always making sure that I'm moving forward ahead with what these young people, giving them options in front of them.
Because you heard that. Forward and an option in there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Bars, I told y'all. Y'all want to see.
And that's kind of the thing, like, me and him, like, he's the complete opposite of like, we're complete opposite of each other. And I think that's the part where, if there's anything that we do have in common, is obviously just being a man of faith, and then also doing it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like, shit, like, that's so hard, and it's very true. Every I think that's the biggest thing that we deal, that, like, we have a show that we're trying to put people on game on certain things. You might not be, like, related to the T, but it's along the same lines of what you're going through on a daily basis. Like, everybody wants to do the whole cookie cutter shit. Like, there was, like, this reel that I saw the other day about, like, how they were like, I love journaling, or I like doing so stupid shit, and they're making it seem like it's so, like, let me go eat some, like, little tea and like, in a little tiny cup and shit, and everything's gonna be all right. When we both know a lot of these people have some of those, like, Ritalin and, you know, all these different, like, medicine, right? So why are we trying not to, like, why are we just always trying to expose the nice and sexy versus the real, the authentic, let's just keep it 100, because at the end of the day, like, we all relate to some capacity. We all lose our shit, but at the same time, we're all trying to win, you know?
But what I love about what you guys are doing, you could sell out if you wanted to. I'm pretty sure you guys get offers for interviews to come in here and just talk about some of the most ratchet nonsense out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been offered checks. I mean, throughout my career, I've been tried to hand me, I should say, checks, just to make sure that my messaging matches theirs. And I've always stood on, business. I've always stood on being real with my community, regardless of where I am. But there are people that will infiltrate your circle and say, you know what, we'll buy $5,000 worth of advertising as long as you also say this. And I'm pretty sure, if you guys haven't already, you're going to be hit up by some people that see you got something brewing that's really, really positive and forward thinking. Here's a check. Now, read this over the air on something that you may not believe in, something you may not adhere to.
I'll read it real quick.
Some people say, I'll give you an example. We're talking about smoking.
Good.
We're talking about weed smoking, right? I don't smoke weed. I don't drink. I told you, I don't use drugs. Back when I was in Bakersfield at that radio station, there was a poppin' new dispensary moving in town, right? So the bosses, they wanted me to go over there, because anytime I'd walk in and try to sell some commercial time or come on my show and interview, they would come to me because they said I can get some extra publicity through Danny and his show. They hit me up, and I told my bosses, I can't do it. That doesn't go with my brand. I got kids watching. I'm not saying it's bad. You're like, I'm just saying my brand. It doesn't fit my brand. So you're never gonna see me sell out for the bag. That's not my thing. So that's what I've tried to do with anything that I do. If y'all see me advertising something, I believe in it.
Well, let's elaborate. The bag better be worth it. You know what I mean? Like that's not for
So you're
stupid
saying,
shit.
regardless of what it is, if the bag is big enough, you game? Is that what you're saying?
You know, like
I mean, that's honest.
I wouldn't say no right away. You know what I mean? I would think about it. You know what I mean? Like, hey.
So if I don't know your life. So let's say a brothel moved into the area, and they were like, "Oh, we want you guys to advertise. Yeah, we got madams, we got ladies of the evening in there. We want to come and do a podcast with you guys and talk about what's coming."
I mean, the first thing I would say, do I get commissions? Is there residuals?
You are the wrong person to be trying to make these analogies up with. Because he is down to the ground, Alex.
And that's where I come into the equation.
He cleans it up.
That's why you said the very opposite. You said you guys are very opposite.
Yeah. Nah, but we originally we created this because we wanted that safer. So, say for instance, there was a brothel right next door, and they wanted to come on. I think, like he was saying, along the lines of we like try to cover up those alternatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe by me interviewing this person who has this way of life, somebody else can view it and make their own decision and say, you know what,
okay.
Nah. You know what I'm saying? So it's more like, let me educate you even on things that I don't support.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so I would kind of see it that way if I was to do something like crazy like that. But a lot of the times we don't do a lot of things because my mom would be watching.
That's what I'm saying. I got kids watching, man. I
So,
can't do it.
you know, like I'll just be like, nah, we're not doing that. One time we had an adult star on here that I was unaware of, and that didn't really go over too well when I got home because I wasn't aware.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was that day and it was already rolling. And I'm like, so hey, what do you do for it? You know, and he knew all of that.
Oh, you did.
You know what I'm saying?
You invited her of that, huh?
No, it wasn't my guess, but I figured when I saw her, I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, this is not gonna go well.
You can tell by looking at her, she was
yeah, she came in out there.
Man, this is Los Angeles. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I mean, that was that doesn't sound very like Christian right there.
So y'all didn't read Bible verses and nothing while you were here, huh?
She was talking about like
no, hey, bro.
okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She may be watching.
Special Olympics, let's just say.
Special Olympics. All right. Speaking with you prior to this, to our conversation today, I know you're big on youth and showing them alternative ways of doing things. Why is that so important to you? Where did that come from?
Like I said, the neighborhood I grew up in. I mean, I don't know where you guys grew up. Did you grow up in San Diego?
No, Oakland.
Oakland. And you grew up in the Bay?
No. Well, he grew up in the Bay. I grew up out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mixing you guys up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
When I was coming up, there was very few options available. Remember the YMCA? There was the Boys and Girls Club, the Boy Scouts, and of course there was neighborhood basketball, you know, some fields, you want to play soccer, you play football, all that stuff was out there. But there was options available. Those options are still available, but we're so pinned to our phones and our iPads and stuff, the kids don't take part in that stuff. So my thought process is always, what if I infiltrate those areas of entertainment and show them that I can keep you entertained and keep you empowered and also give you an initiative in. And I try to do it up-tempo. I don't know if you've seen some of my content. Everything I do is up-tempo, it's fun. Back in 2016, you guys are probably too young, but there was a music video back in 1989. It was called Self-Destruction.
I was putting them on game. I know what that is.
You don't know.
I was barely born.
Don't matter, you're supposed to know. I bet you know who Elvis is.
Yeah.
My point is, what he did is he took the most popular rappers on the East Coast. There was a whole lot of shootings happening at rap concerts back then. And he said, what if I grab all the hottest rappers in the game and we do like a We Are the World type project and shoot it all over the city, prisons and funeral homes and all this stuff. And it's preach an anti-violent message and it'll go big, which it did. It's like the biggest rap song of the year and it's classic to this day.
The one they did for Katrina was terrible.
That was terrible. That was like a remake.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if I grabbed the hottest rappers in Bakersfield? Because our murder rate in that city was the highest that year, 2016. We had like 105 murders or something like that. What if I took the hottest rappers in the game and I did the same thing KRS-One did back in 2016? Shoot at a funeral, shoot at a school, shoot at in jail, and all of them preach anti-violence. And that thing was huge. It was everywhere. They put us on the front page of the paper. It was huge. So every couple years, I did another. I call my movement the hashtag How Long movement. And people always say, why hashtag How Long? I go, because I get asked constantly on the air, wherever I go, Danny, how long are we going to be dealing with these kids dropping out of school? How long are we going to be dealing with these gangs killing each other? How long are we going to deal with, police shooting? I'm like, I'm going to put out content that's going to use that hashtag and push the narrative that there's always options. So we did Self-Destruction 2.0 in 2016. 2018, we came behind that, and I was changing radio stations. I was like, let me get the hottest rappers in the game again. We're going to do a cypher. You guys know what a cypher is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Put them on the mics called Local Legends. Had them fools just flowing. That was great. We did that. Brought the hip-hop community together. They were beefing over just nonsense. Brought them together. A couple years later, did something called the E-Racism Project. Black and white video, multicolored cast, male and female. And just had them talk about how race affects them in America. Some say that's our best work. I beg to differ because of the last one that we did, which was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was called the Reconstruction Project. I took all women and rappers, singers, and I had them write their verses. I gave them topics to talk about in their verse that they were going to write. And I mean sexual harassment, rape, abortion, homelessness, just all of that. And we crafted, and we shot it at a women's home in Bakersfield too, on location. I think that's our best work. But I'm getting ready to do another one this year on education. We're putting the pieces together right now. But that type of stuff, to your point, that's how I reach the youth. I think that we preach at young people all the time with our fingers in our chest a lot of the time. Or you're going to end up broke, or you're going to end up dead, or you're going to end up in jail. Every generation says the same thing to young people. I show young people, you can do something else. And I might even put you on one of my projects to give you some shine. That's the best thing, is when I get, like some of the rappers that have been on my projects, they've been rapping for 10 years. But for their daughter, this one rapper, his daughter, was able to see her daddy rapping in this music video. Something positive. That stuff lasts. That stuff resonates for generations if you do it the right way. So that's what I try to do. I think outside the box.
That's pretty dope. No, that's pretty dope.
I think that's something that he can definitely benefit on that project with Dr. Clarence. I think identity, that's where it's at. Identity and just knowing where you come from and all that. I mean, I think that's pretty dope. I know it's not an easy task dealing with youngins, especially nowadays, but what do you feel what's the biggest pushback that you see to kind of have them snap out of that, going off the rails and just kind of giving them a positive perspective?
Coming from a man that was part of a mentoring program for a few years, and it was tough when you would be mentoring a young man and you invite them to your house and they become a part of your family, not only through the mentoring group, but also on a personal level. But you also have to send those kids home. The reason they're in the mentoring program is because they're having some issues in school with their mom, in their neighborhood or whatever. It's very difficult sometimes because they always say you should do mentoring. You can't be with them 24 hours a day. So it's really difficult. And I tell people that want to get involved in mentoring, I go, you're going to do some crying, man. You're going to do some crying in your pillow at night because sometimes daddy will come home and he's been incarcerated for a long time. You've been mentoring this kid and daddy comes home and go, you ain't seeing him no more. You don't need him, I'm home. But daddy ain't the right breed of cat to be in front of that little man. It's painful sometimes, but the benefits outweigh the bad a lot of the time. To answer your question, it's all about engaging them in a way that isn't threatening. Like when I talk to young people, and before I even talk to young people, I talk to older cats. I told you about my hashtag, how long projects, my socially conscious projects. They tell me right to my face, Danny, they ain't listening to you, man. These gang members ain't listening to you. And I go, I'm not talking to you. I ain't got nothing to do with you. You gonna do what you do. You've been doing this mess for years. How many times you been to jail? You still selling drugs. You still out here making, causing havoc in the neighborhood. I'm talking to the young kids. I'm talking to that 8 to 13. I'm talking to them kids. Those impressionable years to where they can still, even if they're teetering, they can still go in a positive direction if you come at them with the right message. Because like they say, they don't care what you know until they know that you care. That's all they care about. So, my impact on youth is to try to grab, can't say more. We try to grab as many of these, and I'm sorry, I'm partial to the brothers too, you know. I serve the brown and the white and every other. My primary focus is us, because we out here dying. I always try to impact them in a way to where I just want to show them light. Danny Morrison Media is about light. You ain't never gonna see nothing negative. You ain't never gonna see nothing, you know, that you can't show your mama. It's all about positivity. Show them light, give them options, and show them that there is a way. And this is off topic, and I'll let you move to the next topic. I used to work in a halfway house. I was this executive director at a halfway house, right, for a couple years. And they used to always wonder what to do once they left that halfway house. You got to be there for 6 months. You got to take drug tests. You got to go and try to find a job. You got to stay out of trouble, so on and so forth. And I used to always tell them, leave that neighborhood today. Because they always say, I'm going back home. I'm going to hang out with my lady. She's waiting for me. My homeboy's waiting for me. We're going to party. They're going to party. And I used to tell them to their face, you going back to jail. You. I ain't going back to you going back to jail. I got statistics, man. And you going back to jail. The recidivism rate is 2/3 in this city. So I know you going back to jail. You have to give them viable options and resources to say, don't go back to your neighborhood. Don't go back to selling drugs. Don't go back to getting in trouble and causing havoc in your neighborhood. These are some options for you. So I like to think what I'm trying to build here is going to be a lot of those resources and answers that people are looking for.
I was just about to ask you that. What is the answer to that? Because we were talking about, he was saying more along the lines of the last guest we had was about like the Hispanic community. Because the parents are so focused on providing the emotional aspect of parenting, and it's oftentimes neglected, right? Mm-hmm. And I relate that to what you're saying. I'm about to tie it in. Is you say, well, my answer was that it's not that they're neglecting them. I think it's more of an economic thing, mm-hmm. right? So if look at our housing prices right now, not that they were that way 20 years ago, obviously, right? But if I'm trying to provide and I don't have a trade and I don't have education, I'm working 2 to 3 jobs, you know, Walmart, no disrespect for anybody out there, or Target, mm-hmm. you know, those odds and ends jobs. And you got 2 or 3 of them. My dad worked 32, 35 years for the post office and for UPS, mm-hmm. you know what I'm saying? So you got 16-hour days, yeah. So, but that, you know what I'm saying, which took him out of the household. That's what I'm saying. When you're responsible, it takes you out of the household. And how I relate that to what you're saying, it's hard. I don't even know if that problem can be solved, because if you got kids who come from a poverty-stricken neighborhood, unless they're learning coding or something while they're inside, they need to be able to earn on the outside to get out of that neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Else they have no other choice but to go back to that same lifestyle. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I have an anecdotal story, a mini story, that there was this young cat that was part of our circle when we were coming up. And he's the one to get out. The game wasn't really a part of it, but he really wanted to get out, and he wanted to do right by his mom. And he was like, Danny, if I want to get out of this, what y'all gonna do for me though? And I remember talking to the brothers that were with me, and I was like, I really don't know what to tell him, because let's say that you're in this game, and let's say that you're selling drugs, and let's say that you're making a G a day or something. And he goes, I want to get out of this, but now I'm also taking care of my mom. I got a baby. All of this stuff is going on in his life. What are you going to do? If he gets out the game today and says, Danny, I'm yours. I don't want to be with them cats no more. I don't sell drugs no more. What am I going to do? To your point, we don't have viable answers right now. You got to try to get them early so they don't get to that point. If you're asking me, do I have answers to cats that are like 15, 16, 17? Not a lot of the time, unless they want to humble themselves. You use the word humble, right? unless they want to humble themselves and go get that fast food job, which by the way pays $20 an hour right now. It's pretty good money. If you're 18, 19, you can make 45 grand a year. I think that's pretty good, but you gotta humble yourself. And they don't want to put that McDonald's hat on.
Yeah.
They ain't trying to press Big Mac and large fry.
But I think the way it can be solved, and I think that there's two things. I think one is identity, them understanding where they're coming from, the sacrifices, their whole background, right? That's one. And two, I think usually around the age of, I want to say 12, you wanna probably shake a baby real quick, like let them know that there's consequences. No, I'm serious. You know what I mean? Like you got
not literally.
No, because I think
security.
No, I think essentially the problem with that is that they start building their little testosterone. You know what I mean? They start flexing. They think they're strong. They think they know it all. And we have all been through that, right? But the only difference that stops you is that you know your daddy's gonna beat your ass, right? Not everybody has a daddy, right? So I think, well, they do, but I'm just saying that not everybody has a presidents. But I just think that even because I mean, I had the privilege of coaching kids at that age, and the way I did it is like even to the most weakest kid in the group, you know, I held them accountable. Like I'm not a daycare, you know. I remember one time we were driving back from a game, right? And these little fuckers decided to like go to sleep. And then I was tired too. I had gotten up at 5 a.m, picked them up and everything. And I said, look, this was gonna happen, okay? If I see anybody sleeping, okay, I'm gonna crash the car. We're all gonna die, and I'm gonna make sure of that. After that, they never slept again. You know what I mean?
So where do you put your Coach of the Year trophy?
No, I never lost a game.
Okay.
Because that's the thing. Even to the weakest one, I put them in a thing where the world's not going to be nice to you. So therefore, you have to take accountability. I'm not getting paid as a daycare. I want you. I'm treating you like a young man. So you have to reciprocate and basically be a man. Like, you know, you're not supposed to do that. That's kind of rude. Like, my dad always used to say, like, if you know, when you're holding the line and you put your hands in your pocket, he's like, get your hands off your pocket. You know what I mean? You can't just watch another man freaking work. So I think that if you can cut that and put him in that situation at that point, he's going to understand that there's consequences. So when he's an older adult, then he's going to be able to be humble. Why? Because he knows himself and he knows that there's consequences and he wants to do the right thing. But how can we make that happen?
You're old school.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
No, you're old school. By the way, I love that. I think kids do need that. A lot of kids don't respond to that in 2024, though.
Well,
I'm with you. I'll talk with my kids. I'm with you. But
I put one in the chokehold and it worked.
Well,
it worked.
You're going to jail too. I'm just saying.
No, the parent was like, no, I'm glad you did it because somebody else would have never taken. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like
right.
they need those moments, especially as men. Whether you're black, whether you're brown, whatever, you need to be held on that standard. Like, I'm not saying like hurt somebody, but I'm just saying. Give them that little, like, somebody else is not going to be nice to you. Look at the people in prison, you know?
To your point, I tour the prisons all throughout California. Haven't done one since COVID because of COVID. And I used to do a little test with all of them. We'd have 200 inmates in there, and I used to always do a little test. Raise your hand if you grew up without a father. 95% of the hands every single time. Raise your hand if your mom or your dad was on drugs. Most of the hands, 70, 80%. All of those cats have all those things in common. So to your point, yeah, they're going through the same pain. We have to attack the pain where it is. But there's a lot of weak parenting out there, though. You were great with those kids. You can't force people to be a good parent. You can't force people to discipline their children. If there's one thing that I've always been good at, it's discipline. So I don't know how to, like I said, being a mentor, working with youth groups, I don't have the answers on how to help parents give better disciplinary measures to their children, because I think it's a generational thing. The parents today, the young parents,
they give zero fucks.
They're not as engaged, I'll say it that way, and it's tough. I was surprised. You see Kendrick last night?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Lit.
It's crazy good, right? And it reminded me of a viral video, and there was these kids. You guys probably saw it because it was everywhere. They couldn't be any more than 8 or 9 years old, singing "Not Like Us" loud. Have you seen that?
I don't think I have.
And this is what I mean. When I was coming up, you can't play none of that music, man. You can't play music with cussing in it. You can't play no hip hop. You can't. Man, I go to events all over LA, and I mean family events. They're playing uncut hip hop. We were at the Sauce and Swap meet recently. Right? We're walking through, and this dude at a shoe store was playing dang near porno music, uncut. Kids walking through there and everything. I'm like, what's going on? I think society is deteriorating.
It feeds you all that junk.
Well, it's no secret that we're desensitized. You know what I'm saying?
But are we?
I think we are.
No,
I mean, no, we are.
I care.
How can we? What? Look, we're not talking about us. We're talking about the younger generation.
I do care.
No, what I'm talking about is it started with like the video games. You know what I'm saying? And the murdering and the killing on the video games.
I think it started with Tom and Jerry. Like before, those fools never talked.
Early
you know
on.
what I mean?
That was violence.
then you started talking to be. They started being sarcastic. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. Each generation, it gets the separation. It works further and further away. That's all I'm saying. Is like, you know, people.
And we rely on them when we old. You know what I mean?
They stop listening to older people at some point. But what do? If also older people have conformed to what they're doing and saying, oh, yeah, we can play raw, uncut, uncensored hip hop at this 5-year-old's birthday party?
At this point, let the world end. You know? We lived a good life,
We can't give up. That's one thing that I'll never do. I'll never give up. And if I slow the momentum of the deterioration, I've done my job. All I'm trying to do is slow it down, and it's tough.
Respect. That's a lot of respect.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's millions against me. Some might say billions against me, because just the earth in itself, man, it's not how it used to be.
No, it's not.
And the only way you get engagement on social media if you're a woman is showing some skin.
But I mean, we're here to serve, right? So, you know, let
save
that be.
Save as many as you can.
Yeah.
Now I know. I mean, involved in the community, Safeway houses, radio, your own media company. I'm big on like team concept. So who's your support system?
I wouldn't be here without one, man. Like one of my big ones, I just started a podcast with the California Community Colleges, Dream Come True. Because I'll be honest, I've always pushed on getting kids to get their brains right. I don't care where you go. You can go to a trade school, you can go to a college, I don't care. Get your head right. Make sure you learn as much as you possibly can. The new chancellor of California's community colleges is a friend of mine. We worked together at Bakersfield College, and we worked together for a decade. And for her to get the top dog of the state of all 116 community colleges and say, Danny, we want you to run this thing and be the face of this thing, it's a dream come true. I got mentors around me. I got people praying over me all the time. Just a beautiful woman in my life. Surround yourself with positive people. That somebody gave me this advice a long time ago, and I was doing it wrong for the longest time. If you have a team around you, make sure that your team is there to fulfill your dream. Because everybody's got their own goals and aspirations when you get together. Oh, I want to go to college. Okay. I want my own podcast. I want to be a rapper or a singer. Everybody's got their own thing. They're not there to support the dream, which, by the way, if you get to the dream, everybody eats. I always say, if I eat, we all eat. Get you some people around you that support the narrative, the dream. You're all headed in the right direction. They know what the end goal is. And once you get there, everybody gets paid. But if you surround yourself with individuals, you'll never get there. So I got a pretty good support system. Do y'all see, y'all? You said you're opposites, but y'all in the same direction, though. So,
almost there.
Okay. See, you're doing it right. But I bet your circle is really tiny, though.
You looking at it. You're looking at it.
He's all this. Yeah,
you are looking at it right now.
Keep it that way. But you gotta, I'm sure you burned some bridges along the way.
Negative. You know, I think that's the thing. Like, I think we're so true to our cause, you know, and I think we don't think individually, we think collectively, because at the end of the day, like, we know that there's a greater purpose for it, and you know, that's how we keep it. You know, there's no ego here. There's no, I mean, first of all, I didn't even expect myself being in the mic. I hate talking, you know, but like, yeah, here I am, like, light it up and I'm good, you know. But I'm just saying, like, it's something that I wasn't, you know, I slipped into this, you know. Like, to me, I stay low key. I keep that shit. I put my shades on, stay in the back, and then chill, you know. But I think that's the thing, you know. We're here to serve, and essentially, like, you know, when you gotta pay your dues with the Lord, you know what I mean? You want to know, like, hey, did you do your best? You know what I mean? Did you contribute something to this world? We own Pandora, so like, it'll be hard to get deleted. So, you know what I mean? This is still gonna be there. You know what I mean? A little mixtape or whatever. But yeah.
Who are you guys inspired by? I got $1 million worth of game vibe in here.
I would say Jay-Z to me.
Oh, inspired by MC. How's that?
Yeah, it's just the way he moves. You know what I mean? It's low key, calculated, and super effective. And not to mention, he entered a room that not a lot of people will ever get to enter.
True.
So, with that being said, like,
I was thinking more in the podcast realm. Was there anybody that you look at or hear and you go, that's pretty good?
I try not to, but if I would, I mean, it's no secret. I'm a big fan of Sway Galloway. Like, I don't like study him, but I've listened to him so much throughout the years to where I kind of, I would be lying, because somebody will probably can listen to this show and be like, oh, now that I'm saying it, and then be like, oh, okay, I get it now. You know what I'm saying? But he's definitely, and Heather B, who also the co-host on the show.
That show.
I did, my kids like listen to that show. That's what we, when I was in the Army years back, we had like an hour and a half commute, you know what I'm saying, just to get to work. So that's what we would listen to on the way. Every day. You know, so I've been listening for years, and I've studied him like when he was on MTV. I just like the way he moves, because for me it's not about the fame or anything like that. But what I would like is to be in a position financially to where, like, you already know, I just want to be able to take care of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Can't take care of them all the time, but when I want to do it, I want to have the means to do that.
If you eat, they all eat.
Exactly. That's my mentality. You know, and I'm gonna get there. Very,
Sway is a good barometer to go by. I mean, people don't understand how big Sway is. You know, I think when you mention the goats in media, you always go with your Charlamagne the Gods and all people like.
I was Sway before
Sway, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. These ciphers everybody's doing, Sway was their first. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sway is in that whole era of Funkmaster Flex and all that, you know, but Sway been doing
legendary.
I think he owns his own brand too, right?
Yeah.
Shade 45 on that Eminem's channel.
Oh yeah, Eminem's, he's doing. I don't know. I would love to have a conversation with him, like off mic, off camera, like.
You're going to have a conversation with him.
Just to be like, all right, man. So how you? Because like I said, I don't care about being famous or nothing like that.
You gotta learn to speak with intention. You don't do that?
I mean, yeah, I'm trying. I'm working on it. Like, yeah.
That's
like,
my secret weapon.
Yeah, no.
I don't say what I want to do. I say I'm going to.
Okay. I'm working on it.
He's a little too modest. Sometimes, like, I just want to hit him in the throat sometimes, because I'm like, bro, like, why are we, like, I understand, because this is the thing a lot of people don't know about Andrew. He is a very, very confident dude. So when I hear him try to feed the room where everybody's comfortable, I'm like, fuck the room. You know what I mean? Like, own the room. You know what I mean?
He uses false modesty.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, like, you have to own it. If you don't own it, then somebody's gonna be like, move. And that's the thing. Like, we don't have to be politically correct. You just have to be just confident with yourself, and like, you could be wrong, you could be right, who cares? Nobody will know.
I'm here to tell you that we were looking at your content last night, and I said, see what these guys are doing? Like, this is how you do it. These guys are building from the ground up, building something different. It's impactful, it's positive. You guys are doing it the right way. You ain't got to apologize for doing it good or well. You don't apologize for that. Say, yeah, we out here doing it, and we're gonna get better and bigger, and
somebody essentially is gonna be like, I got it. And then you know what I mean? And then all we need to be right is once.
All
That's
you need
it.
is one person. You speak like me.
All
you need is one person to see or hear you for you to break.
There's like billions.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? So
one person. Somebody from Sirius XM, you know? Somebody from iHeartRadio. How do y'all know? It could happen. So
and being like, you know, like no, like
say you gonna do it.
like no, bro.
Say when we reach that next plateau, that's the way I talk.
No, I'm just like I'm very
He's like realistic.
No, not even realistic. It's like I'm my expectations of myself will be greater than anything that anyone can place on me. You know, any pressure. So when I talk about things, I don't like to. You know them people who always talking about what they gonna do, but they don't never do nothing. Well, I'm not that guy. So I'll rather you just see it, like you know what I'm saying, and be like, hey man, this is what we about to do. You know, we can have our planning session. He knows what our plans are, but I just want you to see it. Like, dang, how's this dude?
Why
Hey,
not
you know?
both?
I mean,
I
think it's it.
I think it
just depends. I think it depends on the situation. Like, dude, like, cause he knows me, and a lot of my friend groups, you know, like you said, I don't lack confidence. That's not what it is. But I just don't like talking. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like people just like talk.
Business, man.
No. I just think people just talk. I'm a doer. Like, show me. Like, bro, I don't care what you got and all this. Show me. And if you ain't showing me, man, you wasting my time. Don't waste my time. So
the reason I see it differently, and I hear you and why you do it, is because the kids are watching. Not just my kids, all kids. You want them to hear that confidence. You want them to see that this is a man that is saying what he's going to do and doing it. That is so powerful when that happens. You go, we're working on the next step. Like, let's say you guys advertise something that you're going to open up a new studio. Put that out there. Say, our goal is to open up a new studio by next summer. There's nothing wrong with saying that. And put it into fruition. Make it come to fruition. There's nothing wrong. And keep God in it.
Shit, I'll be putting some cinnamon and some salt in my hands and washing my hands and shit, trying to like get some like good juju or something. Like honestly, like at this point, that's all we can do is try. Just it'll go a lot easier. You know what I mean? If we're busy in something prosperous than for us to stress. If we're stressing, that means that we're enabling to have the fucking devil around us.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So we just gotta just say thug life, but give him a couple of shots and then he's like, fuck it, we're going out.
Is that what it is? So you need the smoke and he needs the drink. Y'all party time up in here.
Every now and then, man. But let me see. Let me hop back in this. I got a question for you.
Okay.
So, who motivates you to do better, or what motivates you to do better?
I don't want to get back on a religious kick because we'll be here forever. Young black youth. You know, how many funerals you guys been to? I've been to a fair number.
Yeah, just a couple.
I think that my motivation at the end of the day is to put myself in a position to where my brand and my business is bearing fruit that I could help far more people. You kind of touched on that earlier.
Your legacy.
My legacy. If I die today, I want my legacy to move on forever. My kids run my company, but at the entire time, I want us to be able to be used to impact and inspire a lot of people. I like to think that as long as I keep my eyes on God and stay focused, I think that He's going to put me in a financial position to where I can do that. And to touch back on what you were just talking about with the money, a friend of mine told me to stop being so meager with the way in which I move when it comes to finances, right? Because what I would do is I got a team around me, right? And so I'd get money for a project and I would just hand it all out and I wouldn't take a dime from it. I was just like, let's say they give us $1,500. They were like, you good? I'm like, cool, give them all $300 for it. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you gotta. And I had a mentor friend tell me, could you imagine a rich Danny Morrison? And I said, I'd like to imagine it, I love it. He says, you know how much good you would do in this world if you were rich? God is sending you there right now. You're gonna be really making money hand over fist. So take the money that you get. You want to help those around you. I know you have to and you should, but always be looking to be in a bit better financial position, and don't think that you have to take a lifetime vow of poverty the same way Jesus did. Get that money. The richer you are, I know that my community is going to benefit from a rich Danny Morrison. And I was like, I receive that. You're not going to be buying Maseratis and big mansions because you're not that guy.
You're like, give my money back. Hold on. There we go.
But he said,
we'll figure this out.
My community will be bomb with a rich Danny Morrison. He used to say that all the time. And it seems like I'm headed there. It seems like.
It will, you said. Remember, it will.
From your lips to God's ears.
You know? Right back at you.
The bricks are being laid, man, and God is like.
But that's the thing. We have to be confident about it, even if we're completely nuts. You know what I mean? look at Donald Trump. You know what I mean? How many runs did he have? He had like 30 million runs for president, and he finally did it. But that's not my point. What I'm just saying.
Please don't bring up politics.
No.
Y'all gonna shut the mic off.
I'm just saying. Let's just embrace it. You know what I mean? Because we only have a small window, and I mean, for us to just say what if, then you already don't have any hope in it. You know, it's gonna happen. Period.
Mm-hmm. I like this style.
We're the harmonica.
Get these collection plates going right now. All right.
Good THC levels.
Yeah.
No, but ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the conclusion of our show. As we always do it, at the end of our show, we always open up the microphone, our table of discussion, to our guests and to our hosts to leave any parting words that they want to share with the listeners and the viewers. Out of respect and out of privilege of having you, first, thank you.
Appreciate that.
For being here today. It means a lot. All right, it means a lot.
Really do.
But Mr. Danny Morrison, is there anything you would like to share?
I want to first give you thanks, both of you. I really enjoyed this conversation about drinking and smoking. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
But I want anybody watching or listening, follow me on all socials at Danny Mo Show. Danny Morrison Media started blasting off a few months ago, and we've got a ton of projects in the can right now. Big things happening this year, transformational changes happening this year. And if you follow me, we love not only your financial support, we'd love that, but we just want your support on the clicks and the streams and the whole nine. Just jump into what we're doing, and also I want to use my platforms to show young people that everything doesn't always have to be negative around you. There's
throw those handles out there.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, at Danny Mo Show. Hit me at dannymoshow@gmail.com is my email. And keep in contact with me through this summer, because like I said, we're working on our new project, our socially conscious project. Got a big expo I'll be a part of in August. My podcast is going full steam right now. I'll be hosting a live event, relationship talk with wine and the whole nine, coming up pretty soon. I got a meeting on that tomorrow with a very prestigious company here in Los Angeles.
Okay.
A lot going on, and I would love to have anyone that wants to jump on board, please jump in. And we also do advertising and marketing at Danny Morrison Media. I do something called a social promo. I won't go too deep into it. What they are is 90-second to 2-minute commercials. High fidelity, high intense commercials, video commercials with some of the best editing and graphics that you'll ever see. And I have statistical proof that if you hire us to create one for you, we can bolster your brand immediately, which is why we use the hashtag BolsterBlackLA, is because we want to make sure that any company, any brand of any sort that's within the LA area, that we can make you look good. And we do a great job doing it. So,
Amazing. GD Nesto.
First off, I want to say thank you for coming through. You know, I think what you talk about, what your platform is about, everything about it just speaks growth, and we definitely appreciate, you know, you bringing in that knowledge and you know, spending some game on it. I think we all can contribute to one way or another to this, to create a better world, and definitely appreciate you coming through and you know, definitely follow all his handles. You know, look at his content. I mean, I was stunned when I saw a lot of his stuff. So I think it all promotes growth, and you can't go wrong with that.
I appreciate that. God bless you.
Once again, thank you. Thank you for being transparent and open. I will never forget your conversation that you were having with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's real. I think a lot of times we don't show that. You know what I'm saying? We don't show that side because we're so used to seeing the glitz and the glamour. But behind that, what goes on behind that to get to that final product. But I would say, man, like you said, speak it into existence. All right, manifest it. Surround yourself with positive people. And try to filter out those things that are not. I mean, take a self-examination. If you're looking in the mirror and you don't like what you see, then make that change. But we love you. We thank you. We see you guys next time. I'm Drew. We're Option 4 Podcast. We see you guys. Peace.